Hey everybody, disgraced former CALLOUS Invitational 7 player Jabba the Griffin, now a permanent guest narrator. Here today to bring you some round 3 action between Garay Oak, and my buddy Pui Poldrank, aka Stinky Day, aka Jumpy23, aka Stratos. The loser of this is they're out and they're joining the disgraced former CI7 player club, but at least they'll have a win. And the winner of this will live to fight another day and get the coveted 2-2 guarantee that you don't have to feel bad about. So let's jump into this first game, and we have the classic Mence lead into T-Tar lead, and I feel like this specific lead matchup tells you a lot about the player, what they click. You and the safest you'll ever see is the double scarm switch in from both players. If it's CB Mence, sometimes you'll see a break because that'll do like 40ish to a scarm. And then if the T-Tar player has ice beam, sometimes they sit in and they go, let's risk it, baby. Let's play for all the marbles. And then some players, if they're CB Mence, they click HB flying. So we do get the let me slow this down. So we do get the pert switch in, which is generally pretty safe. The fire blast tips mix typically. Well, it did do. Maybe that's how much it does. It looks low, surprisingly. But yeah, so you would expect Jumpy here to not risk letting his pert take an HP grass on turn 2. And so that safe switch in will be something like a Zapdos or something. Scarm works too. A little dangerous, I'd say. But clearly, Garay either doesn't have grass or didn't want to make that trade this early, which is fair. It is fair, I'd say. And you get to scout out a little bit, and you see that Jumpy's team is a little weak right there to mix Mence. But he'll get a layer here. And then I was gonna say, and then roar, because usually the sequencing there that you'll typically see is a surf, either double surf into a roar or CM into a surf to force the roar, and then you might be able to crit. But the hard switch into Blissey is interesting, if not bad. He'll get a second layer here for free. Or he'll switch out to his own Blissey. Didn't want the Scarm T-Waved. Nothing's going the way I'm thinking so far. I'm typically fine myself letting the Scarm get T-Waved there, but I do play a little more aggressively, which is why I don't like these sorts of teams. But technically, getting the free layer and not letting Scarm get T-Waved is definitely optimal when you have your own Blissey. But the switching Blissey into a Blissey personally is something that fundamentally angers me to my core, and so it's something I personally try to avoid doing. Unless the only way I ever feel fine about it, see, with the exchanging of blows right here, this is something I hate. I'll feel fine about it, I guess, if I'm toxic, because at least it's not a futile endeavor. So yeah, so here's a spot. Everybody is so antsy to spin these days that usually in these situations what happens is the Claydol immediately snap clicks spin, and the Blissey makes long-term progress by clicking Ice Beam. And then obviously you're looking at freeze crit chances. So I imagine, even though he's paralyzed, that this is a situation that Jumpy might want to, take that chip, especially when nothing else on the team is really taking damage. So, free chip here is pretty big. And, we'll see if he gets FP'd or not. And he does. Oh, that's rough. You hate to see that. That significant chip on that Claydol, that definitely will be something that matters down the line. And he is Bolt Beam Toxic, which, as of this current moment, looks a little bit annoying to Garay. He does have Hariyama, though. But that gets chunked by the Ice Beam, because we're Guts, not Thick Fat. It will get a free knockoff here, though, so we'll see what Jumpy thinks is fine without lefties, and he's decided that is Swampert. Swampert does not need lefties. Garay probably goes Suicune here, and this will probably be a good time to CM Surf, what I assume is going to be the Skarmory switch. No, he went Blissey. Yeah, Blissey makes more sense. Why let just if this is Crocoon, this kind of team. We'll see what the last two are, but these sort of teams can have a rough ride against Crocoon anyway. So yeah, going Blissey works. You toxic it, wait for it to rest, and then you go to Skarm and you whirl. If you can predict the exact rest turn, you can spike and I'm saying Whirlwind, like a 1.5 star Mushi player, Roar rather. But if it is Crocoon, you're gonna always be risking those couple sleep turns, hitting Surf and kind of putting you down in a hole. But this would be a good chance to land a brick break on the Pert. The Pert is now facing a sort of inevitability. It's gonna get worn down pretty quick, and on the other end not do much damage. Chunking the Suicune for 20% every time it comes in is all right. Especially if this is a CM Rachi. If it's Asta or Fear Rachi, then it's fat into the Suicune, and it's gonna do nothing. And it is CM, and I assume because of how much that Surf did, that we're looking at sub CM. So CMing on that switch into T-Wave's absolutely terrible T-Wave as just a really, really bad T-Wave. Now he's so far behind. I mean, even if he is Stoss, people have run this recently, and I think Jirachi usually comes out ahead, especially when it CMs on the Switch. But now it has 2 free CMs. It's gonna have 3 actually. So I expect this to claim here. If he pushes it with Blissey, he's just gonna lose. So he's gonna have to do something else. And what he does is he goes Metagross, who we'll see if it's bulky enough to take 2 T-Bolts, but I'm a little skeptical. And that's why it does 61. So he'll break the sub, and then we'll see what he wants to do. The 2 options are obviously just let the meta die, or you pivot to the doll, and then do what? And this is a rough spot for sure. Just being lefties. You can't take the EQ damage. So I was gonna say, maybe you CM again, but if you take the EQ damage and this is Stoss Blissey, then you do lose that. So you got a T-Bolt here. We'll see if how well this takes an Ice Punch, because that's really your only play unless you want to just lose the meta. You kind of gotta sack the meta, right? Jesus, this is a bad spot. very bad matchup to run into a sub CM Rachi for sure. But I mean, in CI7, this is Rachi's game, and so now we'll see. He doesn't even risk it, and honestly, I think that's smart. I would have been tempted to snap click the ice punch. Oh, whoopsie daisy. This is the downside of being a clicker. I meant to click pause, but instead I clicked reset. Yeah, there's really no point to risk it with the Jirachi staying at 89%. Like I said, I would have been tempted to snap it because you're going to always pretty much kill the Claydol, and then that means spikes are going to stay down. You have the 20% freeze, you have the 6% crit, so you're looking at almost around the 1 and 4 with cumulative odds um, to just win the game for free right there. And then on top of that, even if he does EQ, he only really has the crit out, and um, I think you win from there. But either way, this works fine as well. He'll probably Jumpy will probably set a layer here, or click toxic. I don't like clicking toxic there. I don't know. I like getting the layer up first against the Claydol and then doing whatever my damage dealing move is and kind of trade those off until it either switches or that's pretty much what always happens. It switches. So that's why you always want to do the layer part, because eventually it's going to switch, and here it did that right away, and um, you know getting that layer is more important, I think, than toxicking anything. And if it stays in, you'll always have that chance of toxic anyway. But I'm criticizing this, but Jumpy's still way ahead. He's playing really safe, which is working out for him. And like where we've been before, this Blissey just has a absolutely great matchup here. Suicune's the only thing that's slightly dangerous, so that is part of the reason why keeping Jirachi healthy is worthwhile too, since that's gonna be, you saw that surf damage, that's gonna beat the Suicune 1-1, probably even if it switches in on a CM. So that's kind of his check there, unless it's Roar. Obviously, that's a little different. If it's a CM Roar, we haven't seen. I think it's clicked one surf. Oh yeah, we saw it into the Jirachi, but that's the only click we've seen. This DD's, and with that DD, that could just be game. Um, yeah, the doll barely eats. That did a lot actually. That's got to be maybe on the faster side. Makes me wonder if how close that ice punch would have came to killing. Here's a free rock slide, and it does miss, which is unfortunate for Jumpy, but it doesn't really matter at this point. It'll be hard to lose. Yeah, the Yama comes in after the Mence dodged. You can probably just push Yama damage, because that's the only thing that is holding the Blissey at bay. And now with this not even able to switch in on a ice beam anymore, assuming it's not one of those rest sets with like Aroma Bliss, it's never gonna heal back up, and it won't be able to switch back in. Now he's just playing the safe game by going back to Blissey. Not much to say. Sorry for the dead air. Just waiting for things to happen. It's close. It's close to over. It's just we're gonna find out. You know how Jumpy wins. Toxic here. Yeah. what is the best way to play this? Assuming the rest is coming in. Or he could toss one surf. I'd probably toss one surf. Or I'd CM once if I was Krokun. That's so. Maybe. And he just insurrests, which is not great for him. Into the Scarm. That's why I considered just throwing out a surf. I mean, he's so far behind that I'm not sure what it mattered. Oh, the Mimic Blissey. Oh, this is the Callous Invitational Mimic Tournament. Unfortunately, this one didn't work. That would have been cool though. I guess. I don't know, man. Just run a real move. Oh, Jesus. Well, there's that game. It ends on a mimic failure. It's not a hilarious, way to lose a game, but it's definitely a unique way to end. You got not you got substitute screw up end games, and then you have just a failed mimic into click X. Let's see ourselves game 2. We got the T-Tar lead matchup. This also is a similar situation. That tells you a lot about a person. Is what they click here. Losers click Scarm. Winners click Brick Break. We got 2 losers here, fella. Actually, winners click Fire Blast. Honestly, that's what winners click. Losers click Scarm. And so either they'll trade layers or one of these bad boys will be taunt. And I will say, before it possibly happens, I have a theorem, and it's called the taunt Scarm always loses the mirror theorem. I don't know why. You would think that taunting the other Scarm, stopping layers, and getting your own up is just such a huge momentum advantage that it's impossible to lose from. But for some reason, a majority of the games I've seen with that situation happen, the taunt user has lost. I just can't explain it. Maybe it's just one of those things where you're running a bad Pokemon, so it means you just don't know what you're doing. Because Taunt Scarm is not good. And there it is. From Jumpy. The Taunt Scarm has clicked Taunt and now has set his layers. And right as that happened, the presumably Def Me comes in, and that's also sometimes a reason. You run Taunt Scarm into the Def Me, and you're making no progress, brother. Best you can hope for is the hopefully it is just Def Me, the T-Wave Surf set, and you can at some point is Bolt, but that it's don't know if that tip set's not still Def Me. It could be Bolt Def Me, probably Def Me, and then you pretty much have to hope that you can pursued it. That is bad if Jumpy is running T-Bolt Scarm again, because no matter what set this me is, that takes a huge chunk from T-Bolt, and losing that chance here to get that chip in is going to be rough in the future, because now he's going to switch out and he's not going to get that chance for a while, and so we've pretty much been set back an entire cycle. And note that came from a T-Bolt para. So that, the odds of this sequence happening were even lower. And it definitely sets back Jumpy a significant margin. in the progress he'd want to make in this matchup. And honestly, leaving Starmie in there to get the one spin off, and T-bolting the Scarm instead of just spinning there, then spinning on the Blissey that might have T-bolt. I don't know. It's a rough sequence. Obviously worked out, and this is a results-oriented tournament, but 95+% of the time, that's a losing line for Garay. But like I said, it worked out, and we move on. And hopefully Jumpy's not tilted here, because that's something that can happen when you get the 1 in 10 para and the 25% FP. That can be a little tilting. And setting up the layer there into the def me. I don't know. I don't think you make progress that way. Toxic here, or no, just hard metas. Yeah, meta being your FP switching isn't great either. Thing just pushed through 80% damage, and the def me is still around. It's a very nice double from Jumpy though. It looks like he's running Charizard Balance, which is a good team typically. A little rough in the def me though, although sometimes the def me's are slower. I don't like when they're slower. I think your def me should be sitting at 300, honestly, because losing to a Charizard just feels bad. He crits a flamethrower on the special defense Zapdos. If that was a fire blast, that would have been nice. But people running a lot of flamethrower these days. I guess they just don't like missing. Scarm being your rock slide switch in is always a bit interesting. I would say. It looks like he's giving this thing up for free without gonna. Whoa! So. Maybe we'll see something that would indicate why you wouldn't immediately go pert. No, it's not like it's end pert or something. It took 16% from the rock slide, and he just threw away 70% of the Scarm health for no reason. It does land a huge EQ on Blissey, but Blissey just heals it up anyway. So indicates to me that that's not 4 tack def pert. Probably not curse pert either, or you might kick the curse there. The Skarmory goes down, trades a layer, spikes for well, I mean he still got his layer, I guess. So it's not gonna have much of an impact. Maybe enough over the long game. As a risky stay to T-Wave the T-Tar, and then he goes hard meta, which hopefully this isn't an EQ click, and that's exactly what happened. That was I'm not sure I like that sequence, but it's tough. This team is just not great into BKC Tar lead. It's just, he chunked the gross earlier, and with the layer up now, it's enough to die to EQ. And what else is he supposed to switch in? Nothing else on the team can take a rock slide. Nothing can really take a focus punch. So he was kind of between a rock and a hard place there, but I think he really needed that meta. So maybe you Scarm there at 63, maybe. I don't know. I just don't know. I think that was tough, and it was really something's dying. What do you think it should be? I don't know. I don't like it being the meta though. Well, maybe especially if it has a boom. If it's sometimes he likes to run agility rock slide. If it's agility rock slide, that's not really getting anywhere. So here's the me back in. We'll get the spin off if this is Real pack. Oh, that did a lot. I wonder if that's 3 attack spin me, which if it is 3 attack spin me, then that sequence earlier is actually kind of game losing, right? Because that thing be dead. If that thing's dead, then this game's over. I wouldn't say over, but it'd be very close to over, or at least a very favorable position for Jumpy. So yeah, that's unfortunate to see. But there's not much you can do about it, right? All right, so let's see how Jumpy wants to deal with this T-Tar. EQ does not kill. He would really want a full power right here. That DD lead, maybe you should just click DD and hope for the best. I don't think it would have mattered because it would have been adamant, would have been outsped. But I mean, it's still not the worst position in the world. He does attack there, does not get the kill, but he will on the subsequent sand turn. Stormy comes in here. I don't think Blissey can take 2 pumps right now, so I would probably just sack something. Not sure if I like that sack instead of the T-Tar, but Arrow comes in here, and maybe you might be able to get away with an EQ. Let's see if no, he's not extremely punished. And let's see, this is why I kind of like keeping the Zard instead of the Pert. Let's see which one's faster. It's Blissey. This is a rough heal loop though, with the EQ doing 41. You're barely okay. So the 41 was a little higher, but you're gaining 12% a turn, while this Pert's like this kind of loop. You almost never make progress. If you do make progress, it's not a lot. So he needs to get all the way back up. Then he'll have a turn to Ice Beam, and then he really needs that Ice Beam to freeze. So yeah, you might as well click Ice Beam here. No freeze. And then we start all over. See this? I'm telling you, I liked keeping the Zard alive for this exact scenario. I think I would have dumped the T-Tar. And then Zard alive has an out. We obviously don't know Garay's last. And I'm not willing to. I'm just gonna click through this. He's gonna have a few opportunities for a freeze. Last was Gengar. At the calc. I'm gonna run a calc real quick. I know it's close. We haven't seen damage yet. Depends if he's rash or not. I feel like these days you aren't, just because you want to be knocked into range without risk of dying. So it depends on how offensive this Gengar is. whether or not that would have secured the kill on a 76%. I assume, considering, I don't know, it's a tough read here. I guess we'll see on this rock slide damage, if even rock slides. Yeah. No, that's definitely more on the offensive side. Okay. Well, then it looks like it might not have mattered which one he kept alive. Although I wonder, because I kind of skipped through these lines real quick, but here was very strange. So you get the soft boiled here. And then the way he plays it out is he ice beam, ice beam, ice beam. He doesn't get the paras, but you know, he dies here. Only 6 EQs left and 6 soft boileds. I don't know, man. There's a world maybe which you just dump the T-tar. I don't know. I'm struggling to think of a line. You know, I say that, and yeah, I'm like, I don't think that really works. You know, because you dump the T-tar, and it's just what, and then what? You go to arrow, and then you rock slide. That's also not a winning line. um. So yeah, I guess Jumpy was probably in the right there to the fish. Obviously, let's just skip to the end, and we'll see that Aerodactyl does not in fact beat a Protect Pert from 17%. Please find a new hobby if you can't win at this one, Stratos. Oh man. You know, Jumpy, if you want to take up, hiking or something with me, maybe we could get into that. From what I gather, you can't lose at hiking. Well, I guess getting lost on the trail and dying is kind of like losing at hiking, but I think that's rare than the rate we lose at Pokemon. So if hit me up if that's something. Maybe rock climbing. We get into rock climbing. You know, Baccarat. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Hit me up. We'll figure something out. So let's get into game 3. 1-1 split in the first two. And instantly we see Garay, who's been bog standard for 2 games. Well, this game 1 team isn't super bog standard, but it's well in line. Comes out of the gate with a Soul Rock. But unfortunately, his memes will have to be dreams because he runs into a Suicune lead. And we'll see what kind of Suicune it is. It's offensive and just leads with a pump. Probably means it's not sub because might have sub checked there. Let me slow down. I just noticed how much faster it was going. And the Snorlax clicks return on the T-tar, and then Jumpy goes back right to, or he goes to Pert, doubles the Pert in on the Soul Rock. Soul Rock will have a chance to click boom, CB lead, I imagine. Not much else it can do. That's kind of reminiscent. I did the same thing, and I have a team. I still use it from time to time. It's fun. It's not good, but it's just instead of Soul Rock, it's Regirock. And it's just a CB lead, and it wants to boom early, but I like it because it also has superpower. And you can clip a T-tar when they're not expecting it. And you do, obviously, you usually just want to Houdini it, but you do significant damage to the Scarm and Pert with superpower. You're talking like 40% or so, which isn't terrible. And it matches up pretty well into the Mence leads, which Soul Rock gets intimidated by, but Regirock does not. So I think that's Anyway, sorry, I went off on a tangent. What I'm saying is, boom rock leads are cool. It makes you feel like a kid again when you used to collect rocks. The T-Tar hears faster and gets off the EQ. It trades the EQ damage for the mash. Interesting. Must consider it worth it. Which, usually it is. He's going to click T-ball here. So, yeah, we definitely got one of those offenses from Garay that don't like Zapdos, so they try and play around it by doing the T-bolt grass pivot. So the T-bolt, switch in your Pert or your Claydol or whatever, and then you pivot into something that doesn't mind taking the grass, which makes me wonder if you're Jumpy, if you just T-bolt again. I don't think there's any way he stays. Yeah. I mean, the T-bolt would have been all right. So maybe that was the play, but instead he goes Suicune, which also works if you're expecting the switch, or if you're expecting him to protect check, or if you're, it covers a number of things. I know there's worlds in which Pump just kills Magneton. I guess you just Pump. Doggy is even better, actually. Does Pump kill Magneton? I want to say yes. And if not, then that's the reason I lost. Because I can't even remember basic things like that. It's a roll. Odds are in the Suicune's favor. It's like a 60% roll. So this is 100% the better line. Especially in this team. You gotta imagine the last one from Garay is something that punishes a Dug, because a lot of this team right here is semi-duggable. The Gross is duggable, the Magneton obviously duggable, and a weak Lax, once you get it to that magical number, is also something that can be picked off by a Dug. So you gotta imagine the last is gonna be like a Gyarados, Salamence, DD stuff, and it is the Mence. And he can't really click DD here, so I think the safest move is to force the chip on the off-Kun. So I'd want to click HP Flying. I wonder if that makes a case for Stratos going to Zapdos. The issue with going to Zapdos is if he just mindlessly clicks DD, then you're fucked. But I don't know. I don't know. I think he just pushes the chip here. So I'd want to go Zapdos. He does push the chip. So he's obviously not going to stay here. He's going to go Snorlax. So Pumps are us right here. Yeah, Pumps a clean kit. Another consideration is actually a Dug double. I wonder if you ever Dug double here. Because obviously you'd be in the same boat. But I think you'd get rather than have to risk all, pumps or shit like that, I don't think you're getting a lot more mileage out of the Dug. And so you Dug double here, catch it, knock it down, so you only have to hit like one pump, or maybe you even push it in the Zapdos T-Bolt range, possibly. Well, turn 11. I can't believe it's turn 11. Oh, jeez. Okay, well, he misses the pump. And that's not good. But he's got really no other options, so he's just going to have to keep pumping and hoping he can come out of this favorably. And he misses another one. and the return does 43%, which is also not good. And he finally hits one, which is nice, but the Suicune is down and the Lax is stuck at 46. So his last was Jinx. Back Jinx. Oh, you love to see it. So I imagine this signals that he's going for a lovely kiss. And if he hits, he's actually in a pretty good position. He would need it to stay asleep for 2 turns, I think. We'd have to see the damage that Jinx pushes. Though if it's sub, then he's a little safer, obviously. Could be sub CM. Okay. Ice Beam. And he just misses. And that's going to be dead. Oh, boy. You got to feel bad for Jumpy right here. This is a real rough way to end it. In the span of 4 turns, you have 2 pump misses and an LK miss, where any one of them really could have been the game, assuming this is Team of Jinx and that's Adamant Mence, which there's no reason why they wouldn't be that. It would be very tough for Garay to win from here if any of those 3 moves hit. Because if that earlier pump hit, he doesn't have to LK here. He can just Ice Beam. And now he goes to Zapdos. He would need a crit here. Oh, no, he can sub for the boom check. And he does. That's nice. That's nice. I guess it's still possible. He clicks Toxic on the Swampert, which is End Pert. I guess that means that's Ice Zapdos. So there's actually a world which he can win. So he sacks down the Dougie first. And the pump does hit. The pump hits. And so he needs a sub to survive. So pump hits again. Obviously, why would pump miss? Yeah, so this is the last shot. He needs pump misses here. And he's Timid Ice, which I think he is, or else he would have just clicked grass there. If he's Timid Ice, he can win this game. He just needs to dodge 1 pump. He needs to do what his opponent did. He made it look so easy, that Snorlax. If Snorlax can dodge a Hydro Pump, then surely a much more nimble pocket monster like Zapdos can. Right, fellas? Right? Not even close. Okay. Well, technically, if he dodges this one, he's that. So he had another shot that I even realized because I didn't do math. But the end Endeavor will not knock him in the range, so he needs to hit another pump. That's sad. That is a way to go out of CI. That is definitely got to be frustrating. That's just everything that could go wrong did go wrong. You tried your best, brother, but let's start buying some hiking gear. Let's get ready to tackle those mountains. Anyway, this has been Jabba the Griffin here with another lovely set of Pokemon. Every time I watch these and every time I play the game, I remember why this is the game that we all love. It's It's fun, it's exciting, and you know the better player always wins. All right, I will probably see you guys next round. Godspeed.